Everything you hate in others reveals something about you. Carl Jung explains, there's something uncomfortable about this idea, that the things you can't stand in others may actually be a reflection of you. That what irritates you, what disgusts you, what makes you judge someone, might be a signal not about them, but about something hiding inside you. Carl Jung believed this wasn't just a theory. He believed it was a mirror. Everything that irritates us about others, Jung said, can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. That sentence alone could change your entire life if you're willing to look honestly. Because the truth is, what you hate in others is a key, and behind that key is your shadow. The part of you that you've rejected, the emotions you're ashamed of, the traits you swore you'd never be. You don't see them clearly, so they show up in other people, loud, triggering, repetitive. And if you've ever said something like, I can't stand people who brag, I hate selfish people, she's so fake, he's too emotional, they're too loud, then it might be time to ask, why does this bother me so much? Because someone else might hear the same thing and feel nothing. So why does it hit you? That's the work of projection. Projection is when we unconsciously push our unwanted traits onto others, so we don't have to deal with them in ourselves. You don't want to see your own arrogance. You'll notice it in others. You don't want to admit you crave attention. You'll hate people who do. You don't want to feel envy. You'll call others shallow, greedy, or materialistic. It's not conscious, it's protective. The mind says, that's not me, but the soul whispers, it could be. And that's where your real work begins. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman who always said she hated liars. She would explode at anyone who bent the truth. At first glance, it seemed righteous. She just valued honesty. But when she began her shadow work, something surfaced. As a child, she learned to lie, not because she was bad, but because she had to hide her feelings to survive. She lied to avoid punishment. She lied to be loved. And as an adult, she couldn't stand dishonesty in others, because it reminded her of a part of herself she had never forgiven. That's the shadow, the version of you you had to bury just to be accepted. You see, we all wear masks. Jung called this the persona, the image we present to the world. But behind that mask is the shadow self, the real thoughts, fears, desires, judgments. And when we pretend the shadow isn't there, it shows up in other people. The people who bother you most are often the ones who carry traits you're still battling inside. They trigger something you haven't healed. They remind you of the version of you that was punished, rejected, or ignored. But here's the truth. You cannot become whole while rejecting parts of yourself. You cannot grow while blaming everyone else. You cannot have peace while living at war with your own reflection. So how do you begin? Step 1. Pause when you're triggered. Before reacting, ask, what is this reaction really about? Is this emotion new or old? Have I felt this before and with someone else? Step 2. Notice the pattern. Who constantly annoys you? What types of people do you find hard to tolerate? Write it down. Step 3. Flip the mirror. Ask, what do they represent that I reject in myself? Where have I been this way, but was shamed for it? Step 4. Practice compassion. To them, yes, but more importantly, to yourself. Because behind every judgment is a wound, and behind every wound is a need for healing. Let's be clear, not everything is a projection. Some behaviors are truly toxic. Some boundaries must be honored. But many of our strongest emotional reactions are not about the other person. They're about what that person reflects back to us. And when we ignore the reflection, we lose the lesson. Carl Jung didn't teach projection to make us feel guilty. He taught it to make us conscious, because once you become aware of your shadow, you can stop projecting it. And when you stop projecting, you start accepting. You start owning your feelings. You start seeing others with more grace. You stop blaming us and start transforming. Here's a simple truth. The traits you admire in others are your potential, and the traits you hate are your reflection. You don't hate them because they're wrong. You hate them because they remind you of something unresolved, and that unresolved part of you is begging for your attention. Think about someone you judge right now, not casually, deeply, someone who triggers you. Now ask, what part of me are they reflecting? Be honest, be still, and most of all, be kind. Because whatever answer comes up, that part of you doesn't need punishment, it needs healing. The journey of self-awareness is not about perfection, it's about honesty. And honesty begins with admitting sometimes the thing we hate in others is something we were once punished for being. Maybe someone called you too loud, so now you hate loud people. Maybe you were told to stop crying, so now you dislike emotional people. Maybe you were made to feel small, so now you can't stand confident people. But these judgments are not the end. They are invitations, invitations to forgive, to explore, to grow. Carl Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." You don't grow by pretending to be good. You grow by understanding your shadow, because when you do, you stop being controlled by it. So the next time you say, "I hate people," stop, breathe, and ask, what is this trying to show me about myself? That question can change everything, not just how you see others, but how you see you. And in the end, that's the beginning of real freedom.